Hi, this is Aaron for BandLab, and in this video we're going to make a Kygo style drop in BandLab's free online DAW. You can open this project yourself with the link in the video description, and if you find this guide useful, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be the first to know when new videos drop. I begin by setting the project tempo to 105 BPM and selecting G sharp minor for the key. Then I create a new virtual instrument track and select drum pads and the electro pop kit, which gives us some solid but still quite natural sounding drums. Typically Kygo tracks have relatively simplistic drum parts and focus on the musical parts to drive the track along. The beat I compose is super simple, kicks on the beat, with open hi-hats between the beats and snares on every other beat. It doesn't really sound too inspiring on its own, but by keeping it simple, we leave room for more exciting elements. Next, I'm going to create the piano part, which is going to be the musical focus of the track. I stick with the default piano grand piano instrument for this sound, as it's the brightest of all the pianos on offer, and I'm looking for a big glossy dance sound here. The part I compose starts on a G sharp minor, then goes to F sharp major, then E major, and back to F sharp major. To keep things interesting, I've added a little flourish at the end of the part. Rather than just sticking on F sharp major, we get a quick movement back to E major and hit the G sharp minor before the 4-bar sequence starts again. This is a simple change, but it gives the piano riff much more character and vibe than just the plain 4-chord approach we had. Earlier I mentioned I chose this piano because it's the brightest, and now I'm going to take a few steps to make it sound even more polished and glossy. First, I'm going to compress it with the dynamic BL1176 effect. Then I add a reverb, studio reverb, which I tame by turning the mix down to 4.1 and the size down to 3.1. Then I add a tone graphic EQ and boost the 3.2 kHz band by plus 4 dB and the 6.4 kHz band by plus 6 dB. I want the drums to be louder in the mix, so I turn this piano down to about negative 8.5 dB. The piano is sounding bold and bright, and I don't really want to push it any further. However, I can enhance the part without further processing by layering it with another patch. I create a new instrument track and select Synth Leads Fat and Dirty. I copy the MIDI across from the piano. To duplicate MIDI or audio clips, you can hold Option on Mac or Alt on Windows and drag them over. This synth layer sounds good, but I want to brighten it up just like I did the piano sound. In fact, I'm going to brighten it up exactly like the piano part by saving out the effects on the piano as my own effects preset chain. To do this, I select the piano track, click the Save As button in the effects panel, and enter a name for the preset. Now I open up the effect panel on the synth track and select the Kygo keys preset from my presets. This part is too loud, so I turn it down to negative 15 dB. Here's how the piano and synth sound at the same time. Now we need a bass that will drive the track when it drops, and BandLab has the perfect sound for us in the form of synth bass lately bass. For this part, I follow the root note of the chord progression with a low note on the beat followed by 16th notes an octave up for a classic high energy bass groove. I want the bass to be slightly more prominent in the track, so I turn it up to plus 1 dB. These are the core elements of the track, but let's add some other sounds that we can use during the arrangement. Next, I add a drum pads boom bap kit, and I've gone for this kit in particular because it has a cowbell sound which fits the rest of the elements. This part again is extremely simple and just plays on the 3rd and 4th 16th notes of each beat, with the last beat playing a 16th earlier. This sounds pretty quiet, so I turn it up to plus 4.5 dB. Next, I add the guitar clean power chord, and this part also plays on the 3rd and 4th 16ths, but follows the root note of the chords. I add a studio reverb to this to make it a little more atmospheric and turn its level down to negative 3.5 dB. Now let's look at the arrangement. In the slice of the track we're looking at here, we're starting with the breakdown. To introduce the keys, I add a tone multi-filter to both the piano and synth tracks and use the automation on the filter cutoff frequency to bring them in gradually. I use slightly different curves on the piano and synth, so you get a little more taste of the piano at first, and then the synth comes in after that. I want the drop itself to have a big impact, and I'd like to use some big toms to lead into it. I add another virtual instrument track and select the drum kit's chill wave instrument. This is a straightforward descending tom pattern that plays before the drop. I also add this tom fill at the end of each 8-bar section because it's awesome. I want to make the build to the drop more intense, so I open BandLab's sample library, select the One Shots tab, and enter riser into the text search box. 80s riser is the sort of thing I'm after, so I drag it into the project, but it's a bit slow for the tempo of the track. So I open the editor panel and turn up its playback rate to 1.4. It's also extremely loud, so I turn its level down to negative 16 dB or so. The build up to the drop is sounding intense enough, but I want more impact on the drop itself. So in the sample library, I search for Crash and drag Silver Yacht Crash into the project. I put this on the drop and at the start of the subsequent 8-bar section. Remember, you can fork this project and make your own version of it using the link in the video description. Have fun!